It's after close of work, and we should be doing a lot of other things. So I will just try to get into it quickly so that we don't take too much of our time. It's after close of work, and sorry. All right. So first, I would just like us to give an overview of like current achievements, generally in the landscape and also in your field of work, as regards, either you're in diaspora like Dr. Waime and you're working with researchers in Nigeria or in other countries in Africa. What achievements have you seen and what factors have you seen that have made that possible, in terms of just research development, research advancement, and technology as it regards to research?
That me, okay. Hi everyone. So it's a beautiful question. So I do my PhD. I'm based in the UK, but my PhD was in Nigeria. So I went to do a PhD in Nigeria, focusing on diet and exercise intervention involving parents and children in Nigeria. And I used one of the few communities are after Lekki, so kind of like the suburban communities. That was my main focus. And one of the things, again, like the key thing of one of the achievements that I was able to work with other researchers and I was able to do capacity strengthening. I won't say capacity building. So coming in from the UK, they call it the inside out positionality, whereby I'm an insider as a Nigerian, a pediatrician, but I'm an outsider coming in with I'm from the UK, but I'm doing research. And one of those things, one of the key things is I was able to use technology to recruit the researchers I worked with in Nigeria. So a mere tweet out like, I'm doing this research, who's interested, who is doing this? Some people turned up and said, Dr. Wells, I want to work with you. And also with technology, it was easy to work with the Lagos state government. So that's just some of the key achievements to say with technology, I've been able to, even if I could only be on ground for 3 months, go back, come back again 3 months. So with technology, I was able to facilitate those discussions and all of that. So I'd say technology is a very powerful tool, irrespective of if you're Nigerian abroad or you're Nigerian in Nigeria working. So technology, even one of the other achievements was in piloting the interventions, which is quite interdisciplinary. Till date, even up until COVID, before we lost one of the headmistress, we were using WhatsApp to communicate. The report I sent to the district officers about the whole intervention was through WhatsApp. So again, technology as a tool, it's very powerful. So it's not something to underestimate. It's growing, it has its challenges, but there's a key thing of capacity strengthening. So we have people in Nigeria who want to do research, who are interested, but maybe they need to strengthen their capacity with what they already know. So that's where I come in maybe as an outsider equipped from the diaspora. So yeah.
Thank you very much for that. Communication is one of the things that's been a bane, being able to communicate expectations, results, and just giving clarity is very important. And WhatsApp, yeah, as low tech as it might seem, is a very pivotal tool. So thank you very much for that. Dr. Odis, also, would you be kind enough to chime in? What are the achievements and the highlights that you've seen, especially that technology has made possible?
Okay, thank you so much for that beautiful question. Um, we had a focus group discussion, I think about 2 months ago, and we're able to connect from people all over the world. And it was on gender barriers as regards to immunization. Without technology, we couldn't have done that. It was via Zoom, and we have people from Pakistan, Nigeria, from Uganda, India, other countries, and we came up with a very good draft through that focus group discussion. And also remember that CC Hub did a research to find out the determinants of COVID-19 and the COVID-19 immunization uptake and barriers. And it was done all over Nigeria. And we are just here in Lagos sending out our questionnaires to a survey tool that was sent out online, and we're able to get opinions and views of people. Even when I wanted to find out the um, forecast of malaria vaccine uptake and potential barriers, we also did something like that all over Nigeria. So you can see that using online tools like Kobo tools, Google Forms, actually helps us to get um, uh, a problem solved, get whatever we're looking for. We find solutions to our problem. And also, we're also trying to protect the data, not like selling people's data. Like I saw a video this morning about Nigerians data being sold for 100 naira per person, which is so wrong. Because in the developed world, you're not supposed to sell people's data that has to do with their personal information like address, where they live, vital information like that, for as low as 100 naira. It's not even proper to sell data. So these are things that we do with technology for research. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. Dr. Alowoye, over to you.
Thank you very much. For me, as an epidemiologist, technology has really helped us, especially during the
Dr.
COVID-19.
Alowoye, are you able to maybe speak louder or move nearer to the computer? We can't
Can
hear
you
you
hear me
well.
better now?
It's a bit better, a little bit.
All right, thank you. I'm in an open space. Maybe that's why you can't really hear me. I had to step out of the meeting. So for me, as an epidemiologist, one major technological tool that have been very helpful for us in Nigeria is an electronic real-time disease reporting platform that was actually developed by Nigerians during the Ebola outbreak. I hope you can hear me. Okay, you can
Yes.
hear me. Yes, during the Ebola outbreak, after the Ebola, during and after, we were able to develop what we now call SOMAS, the Surveillance Outbreak Response Management and Analysis System. That tool is a real-time tool that was developed by Nigerians and some other uh, foreigners, but essentially developed by Nigerians. And the tool is used for real-time disease reporting, especially for outbreaks that have for diseases that have outbreak potentials. Initially, it had like seven diseases. Now it has more than 10 diseases like cholera, Ebola, COVID-19, even disease X is there for a disease of unknown origin that nobody knows about. So all over Nigeria, before COVID-19, only few states were developed because I was part of the national facilitators that was going around the country to deploy the tool for our disease surveillance and epidemiology officers. So, but during COVID-19, the tool was deployed to the 36 states of the country, including the FCT. And that is what we use right now. In the case of monkeypox or something like cholera or yellow fever is picked up anywhere in the country right now, the DSNO of that local government just have to enter the data into a tablet, and the person in the state will see it, maybe the state DSNO or the state epidemiologist will see, and right there inside the NCDC, they will also see that data real time. So it has made disease surveillance and response to be real time, and they can even send tasks. You can send tasks, okay, we have not done follow up for this case, we have not done the contact tracing for this case, because the tool also uses also you can do contact tracing and reports on that tool. And even during COVID-19, an electronic case investigation form was specifically designed for COVID-19 that was linked to that summer for when RDT testing of COVID-19 started. So that when, as you are taking the COVID-19 patient and you are testing the patient for RDT and the patient is tested positive, you are entering all the details of the patient into the database. So that is a very one tool that I, as an epidemiologist, has found useful uh, for our line of work. We also have other tools like the MSAS. That MSAS is also like SOMAS, but that one is used for weekly reporting of some certain diseases. So it's not that you wait for the paper form at the end of the month when the DSNO brings the paper form, or at the end of the week, you can see what is actually happening real time, apart from the use of technology like using Zoom or Google Meet, all those ones that are general for everybody. So that is my major technological tool that is really helping us in disease surveillance. Thank you.
I was muted. Thank you very much for that. Sometimes we have a lot of challenges, especially, in the global south, developing but when we're dedicated and really focused on our endpoints, we're very resourceful people, and we are able to find ways to make things work and just be able to manipulate whatever tools that we have to, I would say, utility, redesign the utility to make them work for us to be able to get our endpoints. So I will move swiftly along to just ask, like, so, we've been doing a lot of things. There's been some changes, there's been improvements, but there's somewhere we're going. There's somewhere we need to be. And in your opinion, in your expertise from what you've seen and the work you've done, where do you think we need to be? And based on that, what challenges do you foresee or have you experienced on the path to where you're trying to get to? And how do you think we can bridge the gap? So I will start with Dr. Wayne again. I guess we kind of have yeah.
Yeah. Challenges. I come from the south of Nigeria. There's not a lot. So one of the things I really, when you are in the global north and you're trying to do research on the global south. So, for example, I'm doing research in Nigeria. I'm looking for gender-based violence statistics. I will only get statistics from the UN or, from any other external body. It's very hard to get into databases that are African, or, I could just go there and find a lot of things. So that's one challenge. There are data, but they are very limited. And then when you are now in Nigeria, you now see that there's also a gap between the north, the south, the east, and the west. So there's not enough of data. I come from coastal and marine areas. So we are on the seaside. We we are kind of cut off, and a lot of opportunities that maybe I might find in Lagos, I may want to do. So the first call usually for students, when I supervise Nigerian students or I do work with them, the first thing you hear is, "Oh, doc, I will choose Lagos or Abuja." So they they feel that there's going to be data there, but when I say, okay, come to the Niger Delta, though that's a challenge I have, because whilst I'm doing research, I can't be able to find enough information about my own place. So they are not, when I look at research, I'm like, oh, yes, they are telling me that there are 18 million out of school children, but that statistics might not cover the riverine and the coastal areas, because I see more people who have out of school children. So I'm like, is that covering the 200 million, or that's covering maybe just Lagos, Abuja, the very top state that is very reachable? So I still see that there's a disconnect. And in the future, I'm looking, oh, is there a way whereby we can do research that covers or that captures these people who are like minority, who are out of space, for example, because they are also part of the data. They're also part of the things that we are addressing. So that's one area I see. I also see that we have young talent in Nigeria who are interested in research or also do not know that research is also part of medicine. It's part of health. So all you think about is, oh, I want to be a doctor, Dr. Remy. I'm like, okay, you want to be a doctor. Have you heard about research? I like research. So there's also that gap. Again, people are not knowledgeable. And people like Author Aid Nigeria, they are also doing well in trying to have MOOC courses, those kind of courses that builds capacity. But again, it's still limited, but we are getting somewhere. So I look forward to a future whereby a medical student from first year to sixth year, even up to residency, has that passion to say, I want to do research. I want to focus on out of school children, the impact of, malnutrition on out of school children. Oh, I'm interested in so and so kind of research. That way we have a wider spread of people having research topics, research teams. And then when we are talking about implementation, we are not just implementing in Lagos State or in Abuja or in Kano. We are also, say, for example, like cholera or maybe HPV, it is reaching the interior parts of it. So these are the challenges. We don't have enough researchers. We also have limited data on our own part. We don't have databases that we can just reach and say, okay, in the whole of South, what's the population, what's the statistics for gender-based violence? We cannot grasp it right now. So we want to get to, I hope we get to that stage whereby I can just go on Google, go on a database and I see it. I also see that more research is going and more work is going into underserved areas or marginalized areas. And young people, as they are getting on in different branches of medicine, whether microbiology and all, they are also getting interested in research, and there is room for them to grow.
Thank you very much for that. It resonates with one of the reasons how we came about starting this, and is that there's a lack of population level data in Nigeria. A lot of what we're referring to, we use as benchmarks, are things that sporadically done, and we don't have trust that they are actually statistically significant and they are more widely replicable. Like if you repeat that same study in 3, 4, 5 other communities, that you will get the exact same result. We really do not have that confidence. And so being able to expand the base of research and the information that we get is very important, so that, because there are different social drivers for different communities. And Nigeria is a very heterogeneous country. There's different factors. What affects riverine people, is very different from what affects people who are in the mainland. And then mainland in the north is different from mainland in the south. And the factors really, really vary. So thank you very much for highlighting that. And yes, a lot of medical students don't see research as a track, unlike, outside the country where you have people who do like medical school and a PhD together, or they take a research year off. That's not something that exists with us. It's not, other than you go and do community health and you do your small thing. We don't really have research as a focus. Many of us, we graduate, we go outside, and all you have on your research CV is collated, that you just administered a questionnaire for someone and you collated data. And that's all we have, because that's all we're allowed to do. So thank you very much for bringing that up. I see Dr. Adora, all these, laughing. I'm guessing something I said resonated. So I will just move over to you to just give us an idea of where you think we need to be, the challenges that you see, either you foresee, or you've experienced on the path, and, just how do we bridge the gap?
Thank you so much for that question. For you to be able to carry out a research, you have to be very passionate about what you want to do. If you're not passionate about it, you can't have the patience to be able to wait to collect your data. And you know that we still have the challenge of network issues. Sometimes some people they stay in a remote place, they don't have access to data and a lot of things. Some people still don't have that patience to fill online surveys. So when you are ready to collect data, when you want to do research, you must zero your mind that it may take time to get quality data. You don't have to maneuver, because I see a lot of Nigerians doing all what's not. Even some students, some medical students, some MSc students, they think, and you must be willing to pay if you want to get accurate data, whether you want to collect online or offline data. You have to make sure that those that you're working with are happy, because if they're not happy, you're not going to get any good thing out of it. So these are the things that you have to put in place. Another thing is, I see a lot of things happening. People don't want to, they will tell you that they're collecting data from Shomolu and they are seeing the survey in Koshofe, and you're asking them, why not include Shomolu and Koshofe together? Why should you collect Koshofe data and add to Shomolu? These are the challenges I'm seeing in data collection, both using technology and also those that are doing offline. What else am I missing? Okay, there was a day somebody said, Dr. Diz, I'm tired of waiting for our tool to be complete. I rather reduce sample size. I said, don't reduce it. The more sample size you have, it gives you enough data. It gives you enough things to talk about. So I don't know why when you're collecting your data, you don't want to be patient enough for the sample size to be complete. You want to reduce your sample size. No. Once you get your sample size, go with it. Take your time. Sometimes you see people, I know somebody that collected data for more than 6 months. He worked with WHO. He was patient because his mentor was a professor in one of the schools in South Africa. So he was mentored by the best. But here in Nigeria, sometimes you want to just get things quickly done. Don't be in a hurry. Data collection takes time. Anything with technology takes time. I know that when in Nigeria, we're still slow in some things. We're not yet that developed. So you can have network issues. You can have people, they don't even have access to data. So just be calm. Don't be in a hurry. If you want to cook good soup, you will take your time and make it to be sweet. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that. Yeah, research can be very tedious, and we've seen people who just try to, maneuver their way to the end point. And I think for researchers who are experienced, once they look at your data, they look at your numbers, they know something is not right. And sometimes even if the numbers look right, it's just that, is it statistically significant? Because you don't want to do all that work, get to the end point, and they're like, yeah, you can't really publish this. You can't really use this. It's just not adding up and it's just not enough. So yes, trying to do rigorous work in the beginning, but having that mentorship is very important. And having a system that also supports, people are doing research, they may not be getting enough funding, they may not be getting enough support, collecting or collating data might be difficult, and all of those things. So having the right support system really, really helps. I will move over to Dr. Alowoye, who, her own experience is even vast. She's a state epidemiologist, so she probably deals with a lot more wider body of data and have to coordinate a lot of people. So it'll be interesting to hear her experience and thoughts that she has around that.
Thank you very much. I like to start by saying that sometimes when we talk about research, we look at something that is complicated, that is complex, that consumes money, that you have to go through some rigorous processes. But sometimes, even most of the time, especially for applied research, basic research can be okay, maybe a little bit complicated. But when it comes to advanced research, applied research, and you're on the field, you can do a lot of research without even spending much money. You just doing simple things. And I like to say that in Nigeria, we are actually sitting on a lot of data. We have a lot of data that is not being used, secondary data that we have that are especially within the government circles. Like
colleagues, I can't hear. Apologies, colleagues, I can't hear. I've got challenges in terms of sound. Am I the only one?
Can you hear me?
Your voice is quite low, so we can't really hear you.
Okay, maybe I have to change my location.
This
Where
is
I am,
better. It's a little better now.
You sound a bit better from where you are. I really want to make sure that I don't miss any point. Apologies, colleagues. From where I'm sitting, I can't hear. Hopefully, it's not only from my side.
Thank
okay,
you, Dr.
I hope you can hear me better now.
Yes, we can.
All right. Thank you very much. Like I was saying, for us in Nigeria, we especially in the public service, we have a lot of data that we're not actually using. We are just collecting data every day, every week, every month. The data are there. Nobody is speaking to the data, especially for a lot of paper-based data that are being collected. Some of these data are not utilized. They are not analyzed. They are just being collected for collection sake. So that is one. Then research is very simple. I used to tell even my local government staff, come, you can actually do research and try to see, okay, all these things that we are doing, can we improve on it? Earlier
Colleagues, can you guys hear? I'm presently struggling with
We
hearing.
have to just we have to she's trying, but I think that's the best that we can get right now. Dr. Loye, please proceed.
okay, I think I should be better now. Hello?
We can hear
Yes,
you. We can hear
yes,
you.
we can hear you. We can hear you.
Not using the video, yeah, if I use the video, it will be better. I have changed my location now. So for us, we do a lot of research, even day-to-day activities that we do that we don't think that it is research. Sometimes they are research. Earlier this year, I wanted to know, okay, how many of we report diseases every day, and I just wanted to see, okay, what proportion of this disease that we are reporting comes from health workers? What proportion actually comes from the community informants at the community level? We produced some case definitions that we distributed to our clinicians. I wanted to see, okay, are they really using this case definition calendars that we made for them? And is there an increase in the number of diseases that we reported comparing with previous years? It didn't cost us any money. The only thing was that disease cellular body are just for every disease reported, who notified us, was it a health worker, a clinician, or a informer? And we ran that for 3 months. So sometimes research doesn't have to be something that is complex, complicated. So when we introduced COVID-19 vaccination, we just developed a protocol, and we told we had 10 people to PhD that are calling using that document to ask them questions regarding if they have adverse events following the vaccination. And we did that compare other states like the country symptoms of behavior like what we literature or other so research doesn't have to especially when it is applied research. Basic research applied research, actually researchers do even when you are trying to evaluate what you are doing and the form of the research. But one challenge that we now have that I myself personally have discovered is that all these things that we do not publish. We do not publish most of it. We have to publish all the researches and all the activities that we have been doing that are like research, we have a lot of applications in our hands. One thing I promised myself that now I am to learn academic activities when I have time, all the research that I've done, and actually see published them. Published some of them, but the percentage that published is actually very, very small compared to what we are. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. I know we had a lot of challenge hearing you, but sometimes the network can be just very treacherous in different parts. So we'll move on to just like the final main point, which is that how can technology, how can we as researchers leverage technology to fast track? Because in a way, if we look at it, if we look at the global standard, right, research in African countries is lagging behind. If we're using that as a metric, is lagging behind. There's a lot of technological advancements. I mean, people are using AI now to do drug discovery, right? To predict the type of resistance that a microbe will develop. And here we are still, we don't even have like antibiotics to battle antimicrobial resistance. We don't even have hospital protocols, for things like that, and so many other things. So if we are trying to catch up or just even hit significant milestones in good time, I think technology is a good resource that will help us leapfrog forward. And so how can we leverage technology? What kinds of technology and where do you think we can apply it to be able to fast track us, moving forward and improving the quality of research that we conduct? So I will start with you, Dr. Waimi.
Okay, so I would use one of the things we do in my organization as an example. So we try to offer safe and clean water to communities, and these are communities that they are remote and all of that. Bad water is one very big issue. So we've worked in the last 10, 15 years, we've worked with organizations that have produced, they are into research for appropriate technology. So we're trying to see how can a ceramic clay filter, how can we use it? How can it, serve as a means for clean water? And it has involved a lot of research, refining it and all. One thing I would say is partnership, collaboration. So when we strengthen our universities to see that you are able to, sometimes I think our universities, some of not all of them, when they do research, it seems very abstract. There's no connection with the community. So for example, for clean water, a university decided that they would strengthen the capacity that they have to see how they can improve this water technology, whether it's water filter, whether we're using nanotechnology. So right now in Delta State in Warri, there are a group of researchers who have come together. They've drawn knowledge through capacity training, through knowledge exchange with Portugal, Tunisia, the US, the UK, to see that they went from our simple calabash and turned into a clay ceramic filter. And then they are now thinking, how do we use nano properties? So I think through knowledge exchange, through capacity building and strengthening, universities can, come up to say, let us move on from wherever we are. Let us take our simple technology that we have. Like Bosade was saying, we do have a lot of data we are sitting on. We know clean water is a challenge. Okay, we have this technology, we have this commonized calabash, but with nanotechnology, for example, and with knowledge exchange, say I'm using Zoom and we're talking about this water filter, we can bring up ideas to improve it. We can now localize it. So we went from an international water filter and we created our own water filter, which was more affordable. So where they were we normally charge 25,000 naira for a water filter, through research and localizing that technology, we're charging 10,000 naira for that. So again, knowledge collaboration is a key thing to say this is how we can further it. Also, I think for technology, people commonize WhatsApp, but we have women, when we're trying to get, for example, in my place, we're seeing a lot of people, a lot of young women with postpartum hypertension. We have to use WhatsApp. So let's not commonize WhatsApp and say, oh, WhatsApp is not a great tool. But with WhatsApp pools, I remember when WhatsApp introduced WhatsApp pools, we were able to get a lot of information about, oh, this is why they are having this is what they were having, because they could not really come and sit down with us and say, oh, let's have a focus group discussion. They were feeling like, no, if we do that, there's going to be a challenge. But we said, okay, answer these questions and then we'll be able to, so you can use WhatsApp to collect data. The only thing now is whatever technology we see in the global north, we should think of how to localize it, because sometimes it's too expensive to bring that whole technology into Nigeria. So let's start thinking, how do I localize appropriate technologies that can be used for research, to improve human health? So that's where I stand. Just these two examples is what I can say, that, oh, you can use collaboration, you can use knowledge exchange. And also, I know funding is a problem, but again, I don't know how to, it's a question I want to ask Bosede, like, how then do you then ginger local governments to fund research so that we don't start looking at the international bodies alone for money? We need money to fund all these things, to work to see that we do it. So that's just all I have to say.
Thank you very much, Dr. Wayne. You know, again, there's a variant wide array of technology that we can use. And sometimes, like you said, we have to adapt to, because sometimes you bring a solution down and it's light years ahead of what people can either conceptualize or they even have the capacity to be able to work with. So sometimes we have to simplify things down to what people are able to use. I see Dr. Odis dropped off. Hopefully she'll be able to join us before. Dr. Shuma, if you give us a minute, let Dr. Alowoye just give her just her own bit, and then we'll take questions and comments. So Dr. Alowoye, yes. So back to you, is that how do you think we can leverage technology to fast track our work, research development, and just improve the quality of research that's conducted in Nigeria and in Africa?
Thank you very much. Collaboration is an important strategy to improve improve the use of technology for research. In Ekiti, I will just give one or two examples. During the COVID-19 pandemic, the Public Health Emergency Operations Center collaborated with our institutions, the higher institutions, the Ekiti State University Teaching Hospital, and some other institutions. And the research was fully funded by the state government. So political will is also something that is important. We're able to carry out a 3-month research to find out whether there was community level transmission of COVID-19. As at that time, there were no most of the people that were having COVID-19 were people that traveled or had contact with somebody that traveled. But we wanted to establish if there was community level transmission, and we were able to do this for 3 months. We collected samples from apparently healthy people, and some of them were actually positive for COVID-19. So we're able to do that because there was the political will from the government through the sponsorship, and there was collaboration between the public health institutes, the Ministry of Health, and the
academic institutions. So collaboration is very important. And the second one is also a partnership that we did with MIT through CC of Ekiti State. We were able, I headed the public health security team and another team. It was a challenge. And for us, we were able to develop a tool that could be used to track diseases that's community level, because the SOMAS is only for health workers, but there are so many diseases out there that community members might not even get to the health facility to report. So we were able to design this tool that just using WhatsApp, like you just said, a code like star dash 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 hash, and people can actually self-report diseases, and this we're able to build on, and we translated to what we now use to report adverse events following immunization. The public, both studies have been published. One has been published by MIT and the other one was published by the State University Children's Hospital. So funding is important, maybe from either private or public sources. The political will is there. If the MIT says, okay, we want to do this, and the state government says, no, we cannot do that, there's nothing, they need to get the ethical approval. The process of getting ethical approval for research and studies should not be made so complicated. Sometimes getting approval for you to do some study, especially when it involves, maybe you have to collect biological samples, might be very difficult. So then all the ethical considerations that we have to pass through, all those ones are things we need to put in perspective. But majorly funding and collaboration is very, very important for there to be a use technology for research in Nigeria as a whole. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much for that. Dr. Odis was able to rejoin, and so we'll bounce the question back to her. And the last question is that what kind of technology and what areas of research do you see that technology can be applied to fast track our research development, and also help us improve the quality of research that's conducted?
Thank you so much. I'm sorry about my network issue. I had to change my location. I remember when I was with IFDC, as far back as 13 years ago, we bought mobile phones for farmers to be able to collect data. Now, all over West Africa, they're able to give us data on prices of agri input and agro output. Now, looking at the current trends now, we have mobile apps. We call it mHealth, some we call it mHealth, where we can use app to collect data, our heartbeat, record it. Now, if we're able to do that and have as many as Nigerian citizens able to get that data from wherever they are, and maybe send out to their health facility to keep record or track of daily or weekly their what it is. It's also an advancement when it comes to technology. But we know that it's only, for example, iPhone users that are able to get that kind of data for now. So I know we will get there, but it will take time. And I know at the moment, Nigeria is facing some challenges in terms of increasing prices of goods and everything. So iPhone is not even what some people are thinking about at the moment. But these are new interventions that can help us in Africa and also in Nigeria. Thank you.
You're muted. You're muted.
Thank you very much, everyone, for joining us today and just for your very insightful contributions. A lot has been said, and these are researchers who are either working directly in Nigeria or in and out, like Dr. Waimi. We would have had one more panelists today, but they were unable to join us. So we'll take questions and comments. If you have a question, please just do the hand raise and I'll call on you. I know Dr. Shuma had the hand raised, and so you can unmute and speak, please.
Thanks a lot, colleagues, for such insightful discussions and for raising up some of these key and critical issues. And I must say that your discussions, they are really quite dear to my heart. My name is Dr. Ndumiso Chuma. I'm based in South Africa, and I'm part of the Best Health Solutions group. We are a community-based organizations with affiliations with academic institutions, and our role largely it's around bridging the gap between research that happens in the academic space and what happens in the practical spaces at a grassroots level in the communities. And I must say that actually this discussion is coming at a point where today, in less than 3 hours back, I was making a similar presentation to what you guys are touching on. And one of the key things that came out from that particular discussion is that as researchers or as academics or as community people, we talk collaboration, but we don't do collaboration. We are more theoretical, much more than the practical aspects of collaboration. So it's true that there are AI tools, they've come to enable us to do this work. They've come to improve the manner in which we do work. They've come to make us more efficient. But it is not true that researchers, we are ready to work together. You would find that on this call, there are people from different walks of life. I was actually inspired by the fact that there is someone who's coming from a water sanitation background. It's my area of passion and interest, but my area of weakness, because I've largely been doing work in the HIV space, treatment adherence, and health outcome space. And we want to shift in that particular direction as an institution. But you would find that I would see that opportunity, but I'm not going to reach out to her to say, you know what, let's collaborate. Let's kickstart this particular process of collaboration. So there are those kinds of grand opportunities that we need to grab with both hands. And we don't let these opportunities slip through us. So with that being said, I would like to steal this opportunity to share potential areas of collaboration that we can tap into in such a manner that the guys that are here, they get to know about these opportunities. For example, there is the upcoming call of abstract that is in Paris, which is looking at IAPEC. It's a grand opportunity for us to collaborate, put together abstracts, make those submissions, exercise the use of virtual collaboration and virtual teams. There is the upcoming Public Health Association conference. It's a grand opportunity for us to collaborate, put together some abstracts, be that it's about water and sanitation, whether it's in the HIV and AIDS space, but in line with our areas of strength, we begin to have something that we work together collaboratively on. So the basic idea is that we need to have something that we work together on. You'll find that the more I get to work with you, the more I will get to understand your work ethic, the more I will get to understand what other work we can do together. Now, what makes things worse, there is even a call for grants that is currently open that we can work collaboratively on. And this is a grand opportunity for us to kickstart, to operationalize this discussion that we are currently having, to say, let's not leave it at theory level. Let's come together and work on something that is indeed practical. This is just to show you a typical example of some of the collaborative work that we have done before. I've got colleagues that are based in Nigeria that I've worked with for years, where we do articles together. Some of them have gone to Canada, some have gone to other countries. But the basic idea is that let's all come together and work on something. Colleagues, I just thought, let me jump in and share this. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for that, for sharing the opportunities and, just call for grants that you've seen. And it's very true. Collaboration is very, very important. Just because no man is an island, there's a lot of work that needs to be done. And when we do it together, then we can share the load and be able to work together to do more. Is there any other person that has a question or a comment? Okay. All right. So thank you very much to everyone for joining. A really huge thank you to our panelists who have joined us today in just sharing their insights and their very, very insightful opinions. You know, Amal Outreach is a nonprofit organization. We are very particular about health development, but we understand that community development and health development, you know, they feed into one another because communal factors are social drivers for health, and also the health of a community or the people in a community, you know, affects the development of that community economically, socially, and in so many other ways. And so in having this kind of discussions is also recognizing that development, you know, is not just one-sided. There's the people who are experiencing the problem, who are quote unquote in need, and it's not like the developed countries are not in need. Experiences have access to than those who probably have. I apologize, the internet kicked me off. Just to quickly round off, next month, the second the last Tuesday of July in next month, we will be having the last installment. There's 3 of these. We had one in May, this is June, and then there's one more in July. We will publish that very soon, put the registration link out, and that is actually going to be a full panel of people who have a background of health, right? And they are now in one way or the other in different parts of technology. So we have doctor who is in AI, we have doctor who is in informatics, we have a doctor who is in electronic medical records and so many things like that. And so we can bring them together, and because they have now worked using these technology tools, maybe they can give us some, you know, some more insights that we can really, really learn from. So thank you very much for everyone for honoring our invitation, for those who are participants, for registering and just sharing your time with us. We really appreciate it. So thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful evening, and we hope to see you next time. Bye.
Hi, thank you, everyone.
Bye. Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, colleagues.
Thank you. Have a good day. Stop. And